Hello, this is Glenda. Back in April, I made a Frida Kahlo inspired soap. At first, I thought I was gonna have to draw her or paint her on the soap, so I tried to become used to her features by making a sketch of a picture of her. In the end, I realized I didn't need to do that. I could just print a picture, enlarge it, and use that to make the outline of the face. I used the same picture to figure out where to put the eyebrows and the mouth, which I did ahead of time, but I did not film it. I will be making cold process soap to make the face, which means that I need to have a blend of oils and light water solution. Here I'm taking temperatures to make sure that they are within the parameters that I like to use, and then I'm just going to blend them together. I'm also adding EDTA to prevent the oils from going rancid, since this is a soap that will be displayed and not used. I'm going to use lemongrass mint as fragrance because it is a very well behaved fragrance, and I want the face soap batter to be as smooth as possible. To get the color of the skin tone, I will be using Hammer Copper Kettle Mica from Crafter's Choice. For exact measurements, I will link this in the description box below. In the blog post, all of this will be detailed. I start by filling the eyes with uncolored soap batter, and this will turn into a creamy white. And then I'm adding what I just mixed to the neck, and I'm sort of moving the mold so that it will fill the space. And I'm trying to be very careful and very deliberate with what I do because I do want this to be as smooth as possible. This was my second attempt at making the face. The first attempt turned out very orange. Well, red initially and then orange. To get ideas on how to make this, I was watching several videos of people decorating cookies with faces or with portraits or painting them, and I'm going to link some of those down below as well. When I was done with this, I cover it and I put it on a heating pad so that it will go through gel phase and to avoid soda ash. The following day, I was able to trim away what I had used, the piping that I had used to outline her face, because this I'm not going to need, and it's also a different color than her skin tone, so I'm trying to trim it away. This is much better than my first attempt, which, as I told you, was very orange and too dark for her complexion. Now I'm ready to make the final soap, so I need to remove her face from this one. I'm mixing the colors that I will use for her shawl. This is Hollywood Pink Mica mixed with Purple Neon Pigment. They're both from Nurture Soap. And I will also include links down below in case you want to check them out. I have for the green, which will be the background, I will be using green neon pigment, which I measured ahead of time, and also a green mica. As far as the fragrance, since she's wearing flowers on her head, I thought that a floral fragrance would be good, so I'm using Eden's Garden from Brambleberry. This fragrance accelerates, so I waited until the very last minute to add it to the soap batter, just right before when I'm ready to pour it. Just as I was done scraping the container, the soap had started to set, so I decided it was safe enough to add the embeds. When I was adding the face, and when adding everything really, I was being very careful, and I wanted to add the braid embeds. The hair, I'm actually going to pour it. I also added the purple roses and some flower embeds in the background to pay homage to the flowers in the background of the original picture. These golden medallions are the earrings, and then to add the necklace that I had made in advance with soap dough, I used some of the leftover soap as a glue and put it on her neck. I'm using a smaller spatula to draw where the shawl goes, and I'm also going to use the same spatula to scrape out some of the soap and create room for the fuchsia color soap to go in it. As I'm editing the video, I realize that her face looks weird right now. Well, actually, her head. It reminds me of the Queen of the Borg from Star Trek. And in case you haven't seen it, here is a picture. It's a little bit creepy. And because I have sped up most of this video, it may seem like this was an easy process, but it wasn't. It was very slow and I was very careful. I use a pipette to put soap in some of the tricky corners and spaces. To create a heart, I added some black soap dough on the edges to contain the soap in place. When I was finished, I covered it with press and seal grab and also put a cutting mat on top to help prevent soda ash. After 2 days, I added the final details. I'm using a chisel silicone tip to create some texture on the eyebrows and also for the hair. Later, I also added some pink mica to make it look like blush and some copper mica to create shading. While looking for pictures of Frida for this project, I came across several articles and also some videos that talk about her life, her work, and the factors that made her become such an unique icon. There was a particular video from Great Art Explained in 15 Minutes that I think did a great job talking about her life and her paintings, and I'm gonna link that below in case you're interested in watching that. I made this up for a Mexican themed birthday party for which I was also the photographer, so I'm gonna include some pictures of how it looked at the party. As I was making the soup, it occurred to me that some of her features are similar to mine or vice versa, especially I think the eyebrows and the eyes. So I thought it would be fun to see if I could dress as Frida and see how I looked. As always, thank you for joining me for another soap making session. I hope to see you next week. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't done so already. And see you next time. Bye.